What's up guys, welcome back to another Roblox tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to make a keypad door. So let's just get right into it. So for the first step, you need to make your actual door, obviously. So let me, I'm gonna make a simple door. It doesn't need to be very special. Alright, so make sure when you finish your door, make sure to anchor everything. So just select everything and anchor them. So now let's get started with the keypad. So I'm just gonna make it, so I'm gonna make each button a 1x1 square or cube. So let me see what I mean. Let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna make it this big, except I'm gonna make it a bit more thinner. So let me put it over here. Let's change its material, make it metal, and then uncheck the word move here, and then just make it this small, and then check it back. This should make it as thin as possible so it looks like an actual button. After you have that, we need a 3x4 grid, or yeah, 3x4 grid. So let me do this. That's 4. I need another one of these. There we go. And then once you finish this, we need another one more, and this will be our display. So let me just make it as wide as as wide as 3 here. This will be your whole keypad. It might be a bit too big. You can do it however you want. So let me put this down. All right. There you go. Now let's group all these parts and name them keypad. So keypad. Oops. Keypad. There we go. Now inside it, name every part here. So this will be the button, and this will be a button, and it will be number 7. So just name it button 7. Right. This will make the clear button. So just name it clear. For clear button. Actually, color the clear button red, and find the other one. Find the other button, the enter button on the other side. Should be this one right here. On this side, name it enter and color it green, like so. All right. Now let's name all these buttons. So this one will be button 9. This one will be button 3. And if you want to know how to check if it's the right button or not, you just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This will be the 0. So this will be 6. This will be 4. Oops. 4. And for this one, you just name it display, like so. And you have to make sure to name it this correctly, as well as the enter button and the clear button. These are just important to name, like so. These you don't have to spell them like this. For this, you have to spell them like this, but you don't need the uppercase, so you can make it lowercase however you want. Just make sure the word button is in there, and all of these. So now let's start by adding the actual text. So pick one of the buttons, right click, go to insert object, and insert a surface GUI. I'll find it in the S here. Surface GUI. Inside the surface GUI, insert a text label over here, and then inside the text, put the number of the button. So this is button 1, so it's gonna be 1. You can make the font whatever you want, doesn't really matter. Just make sure the text is scaled. This is important. So once you have that, click back on the surface GUI, and then for the face, scroll. Use your scroll until you see it here. In my case, it was left, so I'm just gonna use the left face. You should select the face that's right for you. You'll notice it's a bit small, so let me first off make the background transparency to 1 so we can see the background, and then go to the size. Make sure it's 1, 0, 1 0. Okay, like so, like so. Now if you notice it's still a bit too small, so go, if that's the case, go into the surface UI and make this 150 by 150 and get to a good size. So once you got into a nice size that you can see, go just copy the surface UI using Control C, and then select all the buttons. Actually, select everything except for it, and then do Control Shift V. This should insert the text and everything. If you don't like how it looks, you can try to make it a bit wider, like so. Oops, no, go back. So only in the display, surface UI. Make it a bit wider, so I'm make it 200 so it looks normal, it's not stretched. And now you just go through all the text labels and change them to the buttons number. So let me just do this. And for the special buttons like the enter button and the clear button, just put the actual word in there. That's fine. And once you're done, make sure to clear the display's text. So you just make it nothing. Alright, now go to one of the buttons and insert a click detector. So right click, insert object, and then go to the C here over here and click detector. And then copy it, Control C, and paste into all the buttons. Make sure to not paste into the display. Once you have put all the click detectors inside all the buttons, right click the model, keypad model, insert object, and add a folder. Name the folder configs, config like so. If I can spell, there you go. And then inside the folder, add a bool value and name it hide input. And then insert an int value over here. And then this open time, like so. Insert another value and insert another string value. Name this the code. Another one, which you will name input. And then finally, add another object value. And the O should be over down here, over here. Add an object value and then name it door. Once you've done this, the input value should be empty. Hide input, that this means whether to hide the input here that someone's putting or to just show it. Kind of like how like you have hide passwords and like show passwords. And open time, it's how long the door will stay open after the correct password has been entered. I'll make that 3 seconds. For the code, you can that's basically the passcode. So I'll make it 1 2 3 4 for simplicity right now. This you can make this as big as you want. So 1 2 3 4. For the door, this should be your actual door. So let me, before I do this, let's group the door with these. Like so, and you can name this whatever you want. I just name it keypad door. So as this door can be anywhere, but I'd rather just have it inside one model so it's easier to find. And I'll go inside the door value over here, and then click on the door. Now you don't need to name this as door, but I just do it for organization. So once you have done this, again, make sure everything is anchored. So all your buttons should be anchored, so nothing falls over. And then inside the keypad, right click, insert object, and here is where we start script. Inside the keypad model, right click, insert object, and then go to script. You can name this whatever you want. I'll name it core scripts. So let's start with variables. Inside the variables, we will need to reference all the things you will need. So we need the keypad, the configs, everything inside, and so on. So let me start by doing the keypad. So local keypad. I actually do it this way. So keypad is equal to script.parent. And the reason we did script.parent is because script refers to the actual script itself. So this script here, this refers to itself, which will be here. And then .parent, which gets us a parent property over here. Click on the script, and you look at the parent property is going to be the keypad, which is actually right here. Which means the keypad is a parent of the script. So we do script.parent to get the keypad. Inside the keypad, we'll get the configs folder. So it will be keypad.configs. But keep in mind, we might try and access this, even though it might have not been loaded yet, which would give an error. So I would use wait for child, and then put the word configs in there. Make sure the configs is the same spelled here. Now this will wait for the configs folder to load in until it actually tries to use it, and this won't give us a nil error. And now inside the configs folder, we have to reference everything here. So code, do configs again. Wait for child, so we wait for it to load. Code, and then we do the door. You can go ahead and do dot value here in code, door, hide input, as well as open time. So we just get the values and store them. Now let's reference the special buttons, which would be the enter button and the clear button. So it's basically the same thing, except we do enter button, and this would be the keypad, wait for child, and then the name of the button here, which is enter. And then for the clear one, it's the same thing, just clear button, keypad, clear. Now keep in mind, you don't have to name these exactly like how I did here. You can name them however you want, but just for now, just name them how I did, so you understand what's happening and you don't get confused. Alright, now what you need to do is let's add some functions. So what functions will we need? So we need an open function. Open, this to open the door. Open door. We need the close function to close the door. So close door. And let's have a clear function to clear the display, which is what the clear button will use actually. So this will clear that display, and that should be it for now. We might need to add more later. Now let's add the initialization part. So when the script starts, we need to go through each button and attach a event listener to the click detector inside them. So how are we gonna do that? Shouldn't be too hard. So keep in mind all these buttons are inside the keypad model. So what we can do is, since we have the keypad over here referenced, we can do for I object in pairs keypad do. Now keypad refers to the actual model, but we need a table. We need a table that holds all these objects over here. So what we can do is get children. This returns the table and contains all the objects inside the keypad. Now keep in mind, this also means the core script and the configs, which aren't buttons. So we need to check for these. So let's go ahead here and check if it's a button in the first place. So if you notice, the buttons we need to use have the word button in them if you name them how I did, right? As long as you have the word button, they should be fine. So validate button. So here we will check string.find object name will string.find looks for a pattern or word inside a given string. So in this case, we're looking for the word button, like so. Inside the object's name, lowercase. The lower function, lowercase, is any string. So if your string was button, it will be lowercase into button. If your string was hi, it will be lowercase into hi. So a lowercase is your strings. So when we lowercase the word button here, it's gonna look like this. And keep in mind, there's no word button here, for example, so we won't be using this or this. After we have made sure it's a button, let's make sure it has a click detector. So find click detector. So local click detector. So we know that the click detectors are inside the buttons. If you did it right, at least. So what we should do is, once we've made sure the object is an actual button, do this. We just need to find the click detector inside it. So do object find first child click detector. Now, why didn't we use wait for child, wait for it to load? Well, we don't need to look for it because it should have been loaded in already. Alright, after this, we have to make sure we actually find it. So if click detector, then. So if we didn't find a click detector, it's going to turn nil. And nil here, so nil here won't pass down. It will count as false. And if we did find it, it will go over to here. And here's where we add the actual event. So here we add the event. So our event is when the click detector is clicked, connect. Now what do we need here? We need to add the buttons. So keep in mind that the click detector inside the button, and the button has its own text, right? Over here. So we need to add this text to the input. How do you do that? Well, we can do, let's first off add the comment so we know what we're doing. So what we do is we do local text is equal to the object find first child of class surface GUI. So it finds a surface GUI class. Find first child searches by name, but find first child of class searches by the actual class name, which is over here. So every object here has a class name, which is not unique. So if you have 5 surface GUIs, they will all have the same class name. And then inside the surface GUI, we should find a text label. So let's do find first child of class again. In this case, we're looking for a text label class, which in this case should be. So keep in mind, you can name this whatever you want, and it will still find it because the class name here doesn't change. It's still text label. And make sure you know that the class name is different than the actual name. So this is the class name, and where's the name? Here's the name. These are different, so you can name this whatever you want, but this you can't change, and so it's always going to be text label. Let's just change this back to text label again. So we have got the text label. We need to access actual text, which in this case it's a property, so we just do .text. Now we don't do find first child because the text property is a property, not a child. That's why we just do .text to access the property. Now that we have the text, we can go ahead and add it to the input. So we do input.value is equal to the same, so itself concatenated to the text. So what does this mean? So we access the input's value, So if you remember, the input is a string value, and you can here enter any string like so. So, and it takes in the value inside the string, takes in the value inside the string. So if it was like A, and then it concatenates it, or basically just adds it to the text here. So if this was A and the text was 0, it would be A0. So we add the value inside the input to the text, or concatenate is the right term, and that should be it. So once we have done this, that should be all of it for the initialization. Now for the actual events. So this will take care of displaying, updating, and buttons, special buttons. So let's first off take care of the enter button. So enter button, wait for child, click detector of mouse, click connect function. So inside, let me give some space here. Okay, so inside the enter button, we wait for the child, click detector, and then once we found it, we should find it, because if you don't find it, we want to get an error to know that we don't have it. Anyways, once you have found it, we do .mouse click for the event connected to this function. So inside here, we will check the code. So check the input of the code. So check input to code. So we do if input dot value is equal to code, then it is correct. So that they did enter the correct input or code. So we need to open the door. We'll wait, open time, then we close it. So it's gonna open the door, wait 3 seconds, because we set it here to 3 seconds, if you remember, and then we close the door. Simple. Now if it's wrong, we do something here, but leave this like this. We'll come back to it later with signs. So after you've done this, let's actually clear. So we clear the text, we clear the display after we have opened the door and closed it. Now for the clear button. So clear button, this is same thing here. So we can just copy this, actually put it over here like so. So if you find the click detector and it's clicked, we do just clear. Actually, we don't even need this part over here, because we can just put the reference to the actual function clear in here. That should be it for now. Let's actually finish these functions. So open the door, what does it do? All we need to do is, for visual feedback, let's set its transparency to 0.5. Transparency to 0.5. Now 0 means it's not, it's completely visible, and 1 means it's completely invisible. So 0.5 is going to be transparent, so it's see-through, but you can still kind of see it. Now you can also, this is the important one. So set its collision to false, so that players can actually go through it instead of colliding and stopping. And then for closing, it's just the opposite. So we make it really, so we make it visible, which is 0, and we make it collidable, so no one can go through it. Right. So that's these functions. Now for the clear function, all we need to do is we do input dot value is equal to nothing, and this sets the input value to nothing. So it just clears it. All right. So we have finished everything, but there's one last thing. There's no way for us to actually see what we're entering. So there's no display. So let's add the display. So local display. This will be the display part. So it's gonna be, again, it's inside the keypad. Inside the keypad, we find the display over here. So do display is equal to keypad, wait for child, display. All right, that's a screen. And then we can have, let's have a function called display. Actually, let's call function. And what we can do, we can name this screen for easier, and you should name this display as a function. And you can go down here and do input dot changed connect function, or we can just say display like so, with no brackets, because we're not calling it, we're just referencing it. So when the input is changed, if a character was added, removed, or was cleared, whatever, it will call this function display. So what this function will do is display the input. That's it. So all we're gonna do is we do screen. So first off, let's get that text label. Screen, wait for child, or find. Let's spell this correctly actually. Screen first child. Keep it consistent and make it off class. So find first child off class. Surface GUI. Find first child of class. Text label. So once you have got the text label, you can do text label dot text is equal to input dot value. So we go into the display. Let's have the surface UI. Once we get it, we get the text label. And once we have the text label, we set its text property over here to whatever the input value is. Now, why didn't we just do dot text and we can just do this, right? Well, this just means that it takes the actual text and puts it here. It doesn't refer to the actual text property because you can't refer to properties, and that's why we just do this. So once you finish this, that should be it. Let me make sure what was the output. What was the code? So let me go into configs code because 1 2 3 4. Let's test that. Let's test 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. Enter. There we go. We can go through. Should close. There we go. And let's test. Let's enter it. Wrong. Enter. Doesn't open. Let's test out the clear button. Clear button works. That's good. So now let's add a bit more to it. So let's add sounds. So get a beep sound or input sound. So we can go to the toolbox, audio here, and then put beep as the input. This can be the wrong one actually. This could be the wrong input sound. So we put in the display and name it wrong sound. Alright, now look for the input one. I think this one can be a good input sound. So input here, input sound. So the input sound will be played when you press the button. That's just the input sound. So this is a good correct sound. So put here correct sound. There we go. And this. So now after we've done this, we go to the core script and reference these sounds. So we do local. Let's get the input sound. We do wrong sound. Local correct sound. Input sound. So where is the input? The input is inside the display, which we have already referenced over here, named screen. So we just do screen. Wait for it to load, like so, and make sure you put the correct name, or else it will give a warning. And yeah, so screen, wait for child, then its name. Let's do the same thing for the rest. So just copy paste, and for this one put wrong, for this one put correct. And then now that you have these sounds, you can go down into here where you input text and just play this input sound every time a user clicks a button. I think it's called input sound, yeah. So play here is a member function inside the sounds and makes them play pretty much. And since it's a member function, not a property, you have to use a colon here. Now here in the wrong area that I've already specified, we should put the wrong sound, play. So this will play when there's a wrong sound. And then for the correct sound, we'll just make it play when there's a correct sound. So let me actually play the sounds first. So What is it? So let's do correct sound, play. Now let's test. So let's do 1, 2, 3. Oh, there we go. And then let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Enter it correctly. There we go, correct sound. Now let's make it wrong. So 1, 2, 3, 6. There we go. First off, let's make it clear that the text once you enter the code. So you can go back here. What we can do is go up here and store the input. So store input. Or we just basically store the input. So let's just do input val is equal to input dot value, and then we erase it. So local. No, we don't need local here. We just do input. Actually, we just do clear. Clear. There we go. We clear it, and then we use the input val that we have stored as the input val. And now, why do we store it before we clear it? It's because if we clear it and then we try to store it or use it, it will be cleared, and that's why we store it first and then clear it. So now this should clear the code once the enter button has been entered. Now what we can do is remove this, and then let's add a debounce. So local debounce. So let's just say, actually instead of debounce, just name it like is open is equal to false. Let's initialize it. And here let's say if input.valid equal to code and not is open, then actually let's make this on a separate line. I'll tell you one in a second. Just put it in a separate line. So right here go if not is open. Is open, then and they're over here. So make sure the door is not open. Then do this and I set that is open value to true to indicate it's open. And then once we're done, indicate is open is equal to false. Now, what we can do is we can put these inside the actual functions. So open makes it true, and false or close makes it false. There we go. Now we can go down here and yeah. So why didn't put this in here? Because if it was open and we entered the correct code, it will play the wrong sound. So I want it not play the wrong sound if it's wrong. So just try to put it inside here instead on a separate line. Now that we have a debounce, it won't act weird. So 1, 2, 3, enter. Let's do a wrong one. That's wrong. Let's do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now what you can do is you can copy this keypad and put it over here if you want it on the other side, or you can just extend these parts to the other side over here, and then should put another decals or other surface GUI on the other side. Should have to, but I'll leave that up to you for now. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and if you need any help, you can find me in the Discord. Link to it is in the description down below. And now that we have our text, oh my god.